You can start. Let's go.
So, hello and welcome to Gas Class with Dad. Today I'm just gonna teach you all the basics or stuff I know about gas and how you can win or have more success in gas wars. You're not gonna win them all. I've not won them all. I lost 0.76 in a gas fail because I was stupid. So that's why I'm trying to teach you how to prevent that shit. Oh fuck. Why isn't it there we go. So the overview we're gonna have right now is how is a block structured? I don't know if any of you, if all of you know how a block is structured. Then some terms you need to know, how to calculate gas and how to prepare for a gas war. First off, we always start with the man and the hairy dad jokes. Did you get a haircut? No, I got them all cut. As you can see right here, I have no more hair. That's why I got them all cut. Then we continue with the Ethereum block. First of all, what is gas? Gas is just a unit of measurement on the Ethereum blockchain. So, because otherwise, the Ethereum blockchain is like a big computer, and if you wouldn't have like something like a unit to measure it, people could just send for loops or loops that would just congest the network and fuck it up and like make an infinite amount of transactions or whatever. So that's why we implemented gas, because gas is like a currency to say. Let's say I want to have this code run, so it costs me this amount of gas. Then each block, a block time right now is between 12 to 14 seconds. Most of the time on online things, you see it as 15 seconds. And that's every time a new block gets minted. And the block target for every block is 15 million gas. And if we are above 50 million gas, the base fee, which we'll look at later on, will increase. And if it's below 50 million, it starts to decrease. So they always try to find an equilibrium. So gas pretty much stays the same, because when base fee goes up, expenses go up, so less people are inclined to join and send their transactions. And on the other side, if prices are really cheap, more people are inclined to do so. That's why we always strive for that 50 million gas sweet spot. If it stays there, base fee is not going to change whatsoever. Then next we look at some technical terms. First of all, we start with a base fee. Base fee is just a fee that everybody needs to use and pay as a minimum to be included in a block. And this base fee can only go up 12.5% per block or decrease by 12.5% per block. What does that mean? That means pretty much in a gas war, nobody gives a fuck about base fee. Because if you only have like 2 or 3 blocks to get into the next, to get in and mint your NFT, and let's say we have a base fee of 100, the next block is only going to be 112.5. So nobody cares about this 12 GUI increase. So that's most of the time base fees you can just ignore while trying to do or compete in a gas war. Then we have the prio fee, which is just a tip you would like to give to a miner, right? Because otherwise there would be an incentive for miners to just mint empty blocks, right? Because otherwise miners could just mint empty blocks one after the other and just get the cash reward for minting a block, right? So that's why we have a prio fee. So miners are incentivized to actually include your transaction in a block. And then the max fee is just the max amount you're willing to pay, which we'll look at in a minute. And everything we do is always measured in GUI. GUI is just a unit of Ethereum. The lowest one is WEI. I think that's 10 to the minus 18 of an ether. Wait, I can look it up real quick. Let me get a browser window. GUI unit. See, one way. That's the smallest one, and we always calculate in GUI. That's 10 to the minus 9th. So this is 1 GUI. I did not know that at the beginning, so I was always like, what the fuck is GUI? But now I know. And if we continue, now we go to a pretty simple thing. How to calculate actually gas, which is rather easy if you know these 3 terms. Are there any questions so far about these 3 terms or anything I said so far? Just unmute yourself, please, and ask me.
No questions.
Everything clear? Great.
Please continue.
All right. So how to calculate actually gas? It's super simple. The only thing you do is, this is me with my paint skills. You only take the base fee of the current block, you add the prior fee you're willing to pay, and multiply that by the gas limit, and that gives you your fee, right? So if anybody could pull out their gas calculator real quick, and could calculate how much was the actual fee of this transaction. Oh, sorry. And when you have the result, you have to multiply it by the power 10 to minus 10 to the power of minus 9, because we're calculating Gwei. Right?
Can you like post that transaction in no mic? Because I'm not gonna write it down.
No, I'm gonna open it later on. I just want everybody to do it real quick or try it, because it's super easy to do.
Oh,
I'm just gonna open that in a second. I just got it in for myself. I mean, I'm just gonna, 1 sec, sorry, I moved Windows. So let's do it together real quick. So I have a base fee of 24.03. That we add just the prior I was willing to pay is 2.5. And we multiply that by the gas limit, which was the transaction, what the transaction used. Gives me this, and now I just multiply that by 10 to the power of minus 9. This should be it. Nope, I did it the wrong way. That divided times 10 to the power of minus, should be 18 now. Why the fuck is there no minus? Oh, sorry. I hate.
Because every time when you do the minus, it's on the 10, not the 9.
Oh, that explains a lot. Thank you. Oh, dude, I hate this. That's why I use a calculator at hand, because it's way easier for me to type it in. Times 10 to the minus. No, I did it wrong again. Who cares? Let me just open the transaction. So if we copy this, put this in here, as you can see, this is pretty much what I paid for. This is also what I calculated. This right here, if I would be able to multiply it by the power of 10 to minus 7. This is actually the gas I paid for this particular transaction. Is that clear what I did so far and how you actually can calculate the transaction fees?
yes.
Any questions about that? No. Okay. So let me just give you one more quick example between the difference between base fee, max, and because when I started, I was really confused what I actually have to put for base fee. For max prio and max fee in general. So the way it works, it's super easy. If you put, let's say, 2,000, right? And for every transaction you do, the prio fee you always have to pay, right? Doesn't matter if when you fail, you always pay that. So if I put 2,000 as my prio, I'm always gonna pay 2,000 times the gas it used until it failed, right? And the way it's always split up is if I put 2,000, right? From the 2,000, it is the maximum amount of I'm willing to spend. It just deducts the base fee, and the rest is the prio fee, right? So let's say super easy. Let's say we have. I put 2,000, and the base fee is, let's say, 50. So in actuality, I'm gonna spend 1,500 in prio and 50 as the base fee. That's why we don't really care about base fees, because like I said, they only can increase in increments of 12.5% per block, and it takes a while until they hit critical mass. Last time I actually saw them reach critical mass, where it was actually determining was when Gary Vee was minting, but that chip minted over 20 minutes. So after like 4 or 5 minutes, it was like a 200-300 like 500 base fee, because there was actually important, but otherwise, if it's only a mint that's going to be over in like 3 or 4 blocks, we don't really care. Because worst case, next block you just have 1,000, let's say 30 to 70. I don't know if that's 12.5. No, it's not 12.5%. It should be like something like this, right? So that's why we don't care. And another thing is the base fee always gets burned, right? Because that's why ETH is deflationary. As you can see right here, this right here is the amount that I paid for the base fee, and it always gets burned. So we have a deflationary board trying to be deflationary. Always depends on how many transactions are in a block, but overall it's deflationary. And are there any questions so far on what I did?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Then we go to how to prepare for a gas war. The way I do it personally is I have a tool. I can just link that. Gas estimator, right? So what I do is you can just use this handy tool. I will link it later. The way you're always gonna do it. Oh wait, let me just go. No. Wait, I have to do something else first. Sorry. We have to teach you how to find the gas limit, because the gas limit is the actual amount you need to work with to figure out how much you should put in prio. So the way you always do it, or I do it, either you can try to get it from somebody who can simulate the contract for you. I could teach you how to simulate contracts in a later lesson, because my friend was so nice. Shout out Kaikun26. He's always also in here to give me his code, which I can show you guys another time how to use it. So you can like simulate the gas, like the contracts for yourselves. You always get the exact number of gas units that are used by the contract. Otherwise, what you do, or what I do normally, is when I know there has been a whitelist beforehand. Let's say, I know Doodles was a good example. I don't know why OpenSea not loading. Why OpenSea not loading? Bro, what's wrong with OpenSea?
Nice quickie ducks.
Thank you. Picked them up, lost money, bad investment.
When you see that just means that tab's kind of not working with OpenSea. Just try a different tab and type it in manually.
Oh, for sure. Interesting. Oh yeah, I think. Oh yeah, that explains a lot. I was in a different wallet, so that's why it was lagging. Let's go for the contract. The address. Then we go for where the tokens are. Right here. Let's go for number. Let's say 20 should be fine. Yeah, there we go. This should have been a mint allow list, right? So what you normally can do is you can just compare. What does that mean, right? When there has been an allow list or a whitelist mint beforehand, before the public, it's rather easy to do. You will never get the exact amount of gas amounts that are going to be used, but you get a rough estimate. And 99% of the time, it's less than what whitelist people pay, because whitelist code needs to do more checkings if your address is actually on the whitelist or not. So most of the time, it is going to be less than the gas units consumed right here, right? But you could also do that a little more manually. I never do it personally, because I think it's unnecessary, because I know whitelist is less than public is less than whitelist, because less code needs to be used. Otherwise, you can always just check, right? This used mint allow list. Then you can go to the actual contract, and then you can just search for mint allow list. So this is the whole function that they use. Right? Then you can go to text compare. Then you just copy this in, because this is the function that was used for the allow list. And now we're going to search for a token that was minted in public. This is always just to double check if it actually will use less gas, but it mostly does, right? Right here, then we go to holders, then we go, let's say number, what's the maximum? 10,000, let's say 9,000 must have been public. Yeah, there's a mint, right? So we see here the function that was used was just called mint. So let's go back to the contract and search for the function of mint. Where's the function? I just want to have the function mint allow list. No, mint right here. See? This is the function of mint, and you just put in like something like this, and then you let it compare. And if you can read a little bit of code, you can also just compare it like by looking at it. This one has a loop in it right here, so this is going to use more gas just by looking at it. But worst case, you can just assume it has a little more code, so it probably will use more gas, right? So what you do from then on, right? We go to the. Let's just go back. Mint allow list, right? So this guy minted 5 doodles, and he paid 610,000 in gas. So what we do is just take this number 131 and divide it. No, I'm so stupid. And divide it by 5. So he probably paid around 122,000 gas per mint, right? And if we know that from then on out, we can just go here and put this in here, because this is the amount it uses for. No, let me just go over the whole thing real quick. This is just this tool right here gives you a rough estimate on how much money you're going to pay when putting these certain amounts of max/prior in there, right? So the way this tool works is you just put the mint price. I don't know what doodle was. Let's say it was 0.1. Then with a target price. Most of the time, if we have a whitelist, you already know what the prices are going to be on secondary. Let's say the prices are 1 ETH. We're going to do a mint off. Then you always check what's the max mint amount. Let's say we're going to mint 5. And we have 122,000 gas. It's probably going to be less than that, like I said, because we didn't simulate it. We don't know what the exact amount is going to be, but it's going to be less than that. So for this, looking at this, or let's say the mint cost is, let's say 0.7, and makes it a little more clear, right? Let's say 0.7 mint. We have a floor of 1 ETH. As you can see right here with this tool, we can pay all the way up to 2,000 Gwei, and we will still be in profit. Right? 2.5 is like where we're not going to be in profit. This tool doesn't include like secondary royalty fees and stuff. So this is just actually how much you're going to pay on average. It's going to be less than that, since the code is going to require less gas, since it's doing less functions. But this is just how we have to estimate it, rough estimate it right here. And then you can just decide for yourself, what margins do I need personally? I think if I would do this right now, I would probably put somewhere between 1.5 and 2K, because I feel like, let's say we have royalties of 10%, so I need 0.9, and I can't pay more than 0.9, otherwise I'm just going to lose money on royalties. And since I know I'm going to use less than 122,000 gas units per copy, and multiples are always cheaper, because it's like an initial cost, and then multiples are always cheaper. So it's not going to be 122,000 per. It's probably like maybe the first one is going to be like 150, and the rest are going to be like 90K or something like that, right? And so me personally, then I would just be like, okay, I'm probably going to put, let's say 1,610 a tip from me, always put 10 or 15 at the end, because most of the people just round it to the dot. So there's going to be an instance where you just win because you put another 10 way in there. Because people like to round. See, there's even this calculator here rounds it up. It doesn't go... So that's why most of the people, when you ask someone how many you put, they always say like 1500 or 2K. They never say I put 2K 10. Because nobody does that. And that's a small edge you could have right here. And here's also different aggressive. Like this is what we estimate. This is conservative. If you would use more, which is not the case. And this is aggressive because we said it's probably less than what we anticipated. It uses like 80% of what we put in here. As you can see, I will be profitable with 1.5, even if we assume it's going to be less. And that's how I personally prepare for a gas war. And then I have some neat tips and tricks for you as well. First of all I don't know if any of you seen this before. Wait, let me turn off the screen real quick. Sorry, I have to log into my MetaMask and I don't want to show nothing. 1 sec. Here we go. Something you can always do is what I do personally. It fucks up with your speed up. Because I've done it just because I know I just want to set this much and I have a chance to get into the first 2 blocks. What you can always do is just go to your settings right here. Then you go to experimental and then you can turn on enable enhanced gas fee UI, right? And so what enables you to do that, right, is to, let's say we just need to send a transaction to my hot wallet with 0 ETH. Here you can actually edit what base and prior fee you want to have to be set as. So that means if there's going to be a mint, which you can't mint from contract, so you can't have it already open and preset it. You just need to spam it. You can just preset it right here for the calculations you did, and then you just can press click, and it sends it with this amount of max base fee, with this amount of prior and max base fee, which will save you probably like 3 or 4 seconds. But in a gas war, that's deciding if you're gonna make an NFT or not. And I always just use this if I know I can't open it up on I can't mint from contract, because otherwise there you can just open it up, preset everything, and then you can just press save and go ahead and click confirm as soon as it's live. Because when you do this right here, it's harder to speed up. I've never done it where I had to speed up. I only used this function once or twice before because it's rather new. So I don't know how to actually speed up this shit, because I just from other people is super hard. And then I have another tip for you for gas wars to see if our contracts are live, right? So what you can always do is go to block native, add to the mempool explorer, right? And for everybody who doesn't know what the mempool is, the mempool is like if you send a transaction, it always ends up in a mempool, and a mempool is like a pool, and each miner is like a fisher. Is like fishing in there, and if he sees a transaction you want to get sent, he's gonna pick you out and put you in his next block, right? So a mempool is just like pending transactions, pretty much. I don't know if it was a good analogy or not, but it doesn't matter. So what do you do? Me personally is when I know there's a mint coming up and I just need to wait for the flip sale state or whatever, you can always go to a contract. And then you need to owner wallet track. Why owner and why not contract, right? Because the contract has every interaction that happens with this contract. So any transaction sent, any set approval, anything is always going to show up in a mempool, and that's rather annoying because we have to put so many filters on. What else you can do is you can go if you have something you want to check, you go to the contract, then you go contract, and then you go recontract, and then you look for the owner. And then you just copy this address right here. Why not this one of the creator? Because creator can change, owner has to be in the contract, right? I can be the creator, but I can give Adam Boy the ownership, so his address is going to send actually the flip sale state. So and after that, you just put this in here, then create it. And now this thing's always going to listen in the mempool for a transaction that is sent by this owner address. And owner addresses are mostly are not private wallets because they are used for they can be private wallets, but if you do a decent project, you never use them as a private wallet. So you can just listen, and as soon as you see a transaction, which let's say the mint is at 6, and at 6 you see a pending transaction right here, you know the admin is sending the transaction out to flip the sale state to put the sale active. So you have another advantage because you can just be like, oh shit, I see it, and then you can try. Then you can try to send it already, and you will most likely be behind him. Or if you do it correctly, it's hard to do. That's how bots actually work. If you have a minting bot, they do nothing else than just look at the mempool, read, and as soon as they see the transaction of the owner, they're gonna adjust gas. Let's say the owner said 2020, right? They're just gonna adjust it so they're most likely in a block, not a block behind him, but a little behind the flip sales state transaction. That's how most of the bots work. They just listen to mempool, and since we don't have a bot, we just do it manually. That's what I do. I just have this open in another tab. I wait for the flip sale transaction, and then I know, fuck, I can just send it pretty much. Like wait for another 5 seconds and send it.
A question here.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you already click the right contract when the pending one comes in, or after the confirmed one comes in?
You can just that's hard to say actually. Because there's a chance if you overshoot it that you're just going to be in front of the flip sale state.
Exactly.
So I would wait maybe 10 seconds or maybe 5 seconds. It doesn't take too long if they speed it up. Like if it's a normal block, it should get picked up in the next one, right? Because there are not that many in the mempool. So you can just wait for 5 seconds and then send it, and you should be fine. But that's not financial advice. Maybe you need to wait a little longer. Like I said, if that guy puts it with 2 prio and you put it with 2k prio, you're going to be before him if you do it too fast. But if you do it good, like if you get in the block right behind him, you're perfectly fine. That's also how many bots save gas, because they don't need to gas wall each other. They can just be like, oh yeah, shit, I see the mempool transaction, let me adjust it, so I'm just a spot behind him in the same block. So that's why when you see like some bots transactions, you can see them like maybe with I don't know, maybe 50 Gwei getting in there, because they just time it perfectly. But that's hard to do as a human. And then another thing, let me just reject this and turn it off again. Another thing that I learned is how to fast cancel a transaction, right? If you send something, there's always the cancel button, but most of the time it uses more gas. So what you always can do is if you have a pending transaction right here, you can just click on it, then click on speed up. Let me just simulate right here. Here. And then you can always edit and then set it to 21,000, because that's the minimum requirement of gas, because that's sending money. So you can always speed up your pending transaction for a mint, which has probably like 2k, to just say speed it up to 2k10, and just put the gas limit from, let's say 200,000 down to 21,000. So instead of failing for, let's say $400, you only fail for $100. That's also something, but sometimes it's also cheaper just to let it fail by itself if the contract's written good, but that's hard to see if you can't read code. I can't read code, so every time there's a mint, I'm just in a VC of Metaverse HQ personally, and they just call it out like, yo, gas fail is cheap, so I know I don't have to do the cancel thing. Because the way it works is always no, that's too advanced. And another thing, another tool you can always use is Block Native. Block Native itself has a view gas fees. So here, this is a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost you to be in the next block, right? And when you see a gas wall, you always see these numbers spiking. And that's how I normally also do it, because I can just watch, oh shit, price at 2,000. So I just speed it up to 2010. Max fee 2010, right? Stuff like that. And another thing that's really helpful is actually just, if you have a pending transaction, click on the pending transaction, and then click on View Block Explorer. If it says 45 seconds, you should be fine in the next block. If it's more, like 2 minutes, you know you're not going to be in the next block. Do I have anything else? I don't think so. No, that's everything I have so far for you prepared. Are there any questions? I know, sorry, my rhythm was rather fast, so I'm more than happy to answer questions right now.
I don't have any questions. It was very explanatory. Thanks.
Was it helpful? I hope. I don't know
Yep.
how what your level of block knowledge was. Let's say it that way.
No, definitely.
I can just copy the file. I got permission to share this, so I can just post it in NoMic, and you can all download it. Gas estimate. Fuck this shit. I don't know. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate Windows 11. It just switched back to German. I had it all in English. No, why does it do? Right here. I just no. Sometimes I feel like I'm really stupid. There you go. I sent the file in NoMic. I can also send these links. What I use personally. This one, and let's clear this. Delete. That's everything I have right now. I can do a part 2 where we can learn how to simulate contracts. I'm not that good at it either. I'm learning as well because I'm not a coder. I can't recode. I can recode a little, but I can't code. So that would be fun. I probably would have to get my friend in here to help out. So yeah, if there are any more questions, feel free to unmute. Just ask me, please. You can always DM me if something's unclear. There's going to be a recording from Adam Boy. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. It was rather fast. It took 25 minutes. Actually good. Do I? Yeah. Is that so? The thing is, I know some, but most of them you heard already. So I always have to look up new ones, which I actually like. You know, I can make a joke about pizza right now, but it's too cheesy.
GG.